Congratulations, you just had your offer accepted on a great home. Now what? One of the main pillars of my service as a realtor is to educate and empower my clients so that they can make the most confident real estate decisions. Not knowing what's coming or what steps are ahead can make the home buying process scary and create negative thoughts and feelings, which then lead to mistakes, because emotions lead to making rational or irrational decisions that can jeopardize the sale of the home. In this video, I'm going to break down the steps involved in a real estate transaction with a conventional mortgage. I'm not going to get into like FHA or VA or cash transactions today. We could do that in another video. But today we're just going to talk about conventional mortgages. Before we get started, my name is John Sintich. I am a licensed realtor here in Illinois, and I proudly service the Chicagoland area. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. My contact information is below in the description. If you need to set an appointment with me, feel free to get in touch with me at any time. Let's get rolling. Okay, so hopefully you watched my previous video about how to get a property under contract. You followed the steps and did get a property under contract. Awesome, congratulations. You have more hurdles to jump over now, more hoops to jump through, and more hills to climb. So let's go through it step by step. Step number 1, within 3 days of the date of acceptance of your offer, you must deposit earnest money. Earnest money is a deposit that goes toward your down payment that demonstrates your serious intentions to purchase the property. Okay, sometimes the listing agent's office will hold the earnest money in an escrow account, and sometimes the buyer agent's office can hold it. Sometimes the lawyer for the seller, the lawyer for the buyer can hold it in their office, or you can find a title company to hold it in their escrow account. You have to figure it out before going under contract. Some offices don't hold earnest money. It's just something that needs to be figured out between both parties. As the buyer, you will determine the amount of the earnest money that gets deposited as you are making the offer. Typically, it is 1 to 3% of the purchase price, but in 2022, you may be depositing 5, 10, 15% earnest money because you really needed to make your offer that much more competitive than the other 30 offers that were on the property that you beat. Typically, you can use like a personal check or a money order to deposit the earnest money, okay? And that's step 1. Step number 2, we're talking attorney review period. In Illinois, we use attorneys typically to assist clients with the real estate transactions. A big part of the transaction is called the attorney review period. This is a formal step which the attorney of the buyer writes an opening letter to the other attorney to make any changes to the initial contract. They make requests or make tweaks to the contract, etc. Basically, anything that needs to get changed within the contract or addressed formally is introduced by the lawyers, okay? Step 3 runs congruent to the attorney review period. It is called the inspection period. Hopefully, you didn't waive your right to an inspection, and it is now time for this process to take place. This is when you hire a company that specializes in home inspections to come and do a thorough inspection of the property. They are looking for material defects that may lead to significant costly repairs up front. So it's very important to have this done. If you don't know any inspectors, like I didn't when I first bought a home, your realtor should have a good relationship with at least one good company that can come and do the inspection for you. The inspector will walk the property, they'll get on the roof, they'll look at all the appliances, run the dishwasher, the washing machines, make sure they all turn on and they work. They'll turn on the furnace if it's cold out, they'll turn the AC on if it's hot. Afterward, they will go through the inspection with you and let you know if there are any major issues with the house, like mold in the attic, crack in the foundation, faulty furnace, etc. They'll also go through minor issues as well, like failing caulk, missing light bulbs, broken latch on a door, etc. Then you and your realtor will discuss what repairs you want to request to the seller or a credit amount that you can ask the sellers to provide in lieu of repairs. Now, this is very, very important. This is a delicate part of the transaction because if you ask for too many things, if you ask for a million freaking things on the list, or if you're asking for a $15,000 credit, like something super outrageous, like way over, what would be expected, you're running the risk of the seller walking away from the deal to backing away from it completely. Or they might just flat out refuse everything the way it is in the 2022 market. You got to communicate with your realtor and come up with reasonable asks for the sellers. And then these requests are then communicated to your lawyer, typically via email. And then the lawyer sends an official letter with the inspection request to the seller's attorney. then they may come back with a lower credit number or a shorter list of repairs that they actually do agree to. If it is acceptable to both parties, then the attorney review letter is signed by both parties, and this closes out the attorney review. Woo! That is one of the hardest parts of the transaction. Congrats, you just got through one of the biggest stages of the sale. Okay, step number 4 is the appraisal. So you've made it through the attorney review. Congrats. Now it's time for the appraisal. What is an appraisal, you ask? An appraisal is when your lender, which is the organization that's lending you money to purchase the property, hires a third party to come out and do a valuation of the home. The sellers have no input here. They do not hire the appraiser, and neither do the buyers, okay? Neither do you. More often than not, the appraised value of the home is going to come back at or very near the value of the purchase price that you agreed to in the contract. However, sometimes the value comes back higher. Good for you. You have more equity in the home right from the get-go. Sometimes the appraised value comes back a little bit below the purchase price. Things can get a little dicey there, okay? If this happens, the lender is not going to loan you a dime over the appraised value. They're not going to give you any more money than what the appraised value is, okay? So what happens then? The seller can agree to lower the purchase price to the appraised value, or they can say, I don't care, screw you, I don't care what the appraised value is. We agreed to X purchase price, so you're going to have to bring cash to the closing table to cover that difference. If you can't or won't do that, then we might have a problem closing this transaction. I discussed solutions to this problem in my previous video, How to Buy a Home in This Market. It's for first-time home buyers, but really anyone can watch it and gain value from it. There's solutions to this exact problem in that video. So I suggest you do go and find that video and watch it because it's helpful in that regard. Okay, now let's say the house appraised at the value of your purchase price. Good deal. Everything can move forward from here. So let's move on to step number 5. That is getting the clear to close. When you're here, you're so close. You're so close to the finish line, baby. How do we get there? How do we get across the finish line? Here you need to pay close attention to your email inbox, from emails from your lender and your attorney on any remaining things you need to sign or verify. Your lender will probably send out documents or disclosures that need to be signed. The lender may request additional information from you in order to get that clear to close on that loan. Again, I can't stress enough how important it is to work with an A-plus lender that has their processes efficient and optimized in order to fast track this loan approval. Before we move on here, there's some things I need to tell you to never, ever, ever do when you're waiting to get your mortgage cleared or you're under contract at any point in this transaction. So here they are. Never do these things. Never buy a car or an expensive toy while you're under contract. Never quit your job while you're under contract. Never take a lateral move to another company where you're making the same or even more. Don't change jobs. Don't quit your job. Never take out new lines of credit or make big purchases on those credit cards. Another thing, don't pay off big chunks of credit card debt that you might have. This can also actually negatively impact things, which sounds kind of weird, but hey, I'm just relaying the information to you guys. Just don't do it, okay? Wait until you're in the new house to buy the jet ski or the rocket ship or whatever the heck else you want to buy for yourself after you bought a house. If everything's good with the loan, you're going to get that clear to close. So that moves us to step 6, closing. All right, congrats, you are clear to close. Now you're ready to go to the title company and close the deal. The title company is the organization that researches the title and serves as a third party where you guys meet and close the transaction on the closing day. You're going to sign all the documents and then you're going to get your keys to the castle, baby. You might be asking, what is title? So let me explain that. Title is the ownership record of a property. The title shows who's owned the property in the past, contains a physical description of the property, and shows any liens that might be on it. If you bought the home, your mortgage will be on that title as a lien. It's different from a deed, which is a document you get at the closing table that states you own the property. It's kind of like a receipt. That's really it, guys. Those are the major steps that you're going to take while you are under contract on the new home, okay? There's still tons of little nuances involved in various transactions, but this is an overview of what you're going to be looking at when you are purchasing a home. Now you can go and look smart when your realtor or your attorney are explaining these things, and you're like, I know, John told me all about that already in his incredibly informative YouTube video. God, I love him. I hope you liked this video and enjoyed it, and you got information from it and you learned something new about real estate today when you watch this. If you did like it, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. I am a licensed realtor in Illinois, and I am more than happy to sit down with you to discuss buying or selling real estate more in depth. My contact information is below in the description. Rock and roll!